I'm Salad, Mint Salad, and I saw On Your Majesty's Secret Service. It is directed by Peter R. Hunt, written by Richard Maybaum. If you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. This movie starts with following James Bond, and he's chasing a woman. And this woman's in a car, and he's also in a car. He's chasing her down a hill, and I've noticed that this hill has been featured in a couple other James Bond films. I don't remember which ones, but this is a very well-used, well-oiled hill. James Bond, he chases this woman into the ocean, and she tries to drown herself. James Bond saves her. She's like, "No, I want to die." And I'm thinking, this woman's being very dramatic. James Bond, luckily, he has all the charisma in the world, and they about to hook up. Oh, let's go hook up at a hotel. And Bond agrees, and he goes to the hotel, and guess what? There's an attacker. This woman denies knowing anything about the attacker. Bond knows better. He knows women. He loves women, but also, I don't know if he hates women. I think he hates women. He gets kidnapped, and this man, at the end of the kidnapping, at the very end, James Bond's like, "Hey, what am I being kidnapped for?" And this man's like, "I have a proposal. Can you marry my daughter?" Is James Bond so popular that fathers are trying to get their daughters to marry James Bond? And since he's so rare, they have to kidnap and bribe him, and he's like, "No, man, I'm a bachelor." James Bond does not care about any of this. He cares about following Blofeld. It's been about 2 years since the last movie. Also, I should mention that it's no longer Sean Connery. George Lazenby, I don't like him as James Bond. He feels a little bit too out of character for me. He's too sexually aggressive. He's too cockish towards his boss, except for later in the movie when he's arguing with his boss. And it feels like when he's arguing with his boss, it's more from an emotional standpoint, less so from a suave standpoint that Sean Connery has. James Bond is able to find out where Spectre has all of this goodness that James Bond is looking for, and he's looking for the specific spot in the snow, hence why I'm in the snow. There's a lot of hot chicks there. I like how they capture James Bond and then they lock him up. They put him in this weird place where he has to try to escape, and then he gets caught in a bunch of gears and he's almost crushed by a bunch of gears, but luckily he's able to escape. And there's times where he's hanging from the wire and it's just tricky. I see him use the pockets and I think that's really clever, but also, ow, how? It's really cold. How you're not numb? And of course he's able to not to die, and he's able to escape and then ski down, and then you have the ski down thing. And then he goes back up and tries to rendezvous with some chicks, even though some chicks are trying to rendezvous with him. And then there's the part in the movie where it gets really boring and it gets slow, and even though there's a bunch of hot chicks in the room, I feel like the momentum is not there. So there's no momentum, but there's a lot of plot points that are happening. There's a lot going on, but there's no momentum. It's a really weird feeling at this point of the movie. I'm like, okay, cool, I like how you're skiing on one ski, James Bond, because your other one ends up breaking. But then you go up again, and I'm like, why? What's going on here? I don't understand. The entire time he's going after Blofeld, and he's looking at Blofeld going down this bobsled. He's like, I'm gonna do that, and it looks fun. And so he does that, and Blofeld ends up dying. And then it's kind of weird how there's a chick who appears and is like, hey, by the way, I'm your wife. Or she doesn't even say, I'm your wife. She appears in James Bond's life, and then the way that James Bond acts towards her is just like any other Bond woman. But apparently they're fiancé and married or something. They get hitched. Miss and Mrs. Bond, they get onto a merry thing, a wedding. They get into a nice little car. They stop on the side of the road. He's putting in a bunch of flowers into the car. I don't know why he stopped. There's not really any particular reason why. And then there's a drive-by shooting, and it shoots the woman in the head. And then that's the end of the movie. So I feel like the last half is just what is going on / I know what's going on, this is so freaking boring / wow, I feel so wish-washy about how I'm feeling about this. On one hand, I feel this is a really cool ending. It's impactful. It's like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. But on the other hand, I just feel like it comes out of nowhere. I don't like how it just comes out of nowhere. It doesn't feel set up to me. I personally wish that this movie was better paced. It just feels like it's dragging its feet, even with the awesome action scenes. Too much of it. So much of it, and I hate the guy's British voice. It's too British. Not enough Scottish. It's just too aggressive. It's different. He's just a different James Bond to me. It's hard for me to think this is a Sean Connery, even though he's cast to look exactly like Sean Connery. And this takes place after the last movie, and the movie after this takes place after this one. But this just doesn't feel like Sean Connery. This is a different universe. I'm not even going to try to think about this as a good movie in the James Bond universe. What do you think about this movie? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I like some parts, but other parts are just weird to me. But I think it's most appropriate at a 6.7 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another on the platform. Like I said, $20 Dinos at patreon.com/ASEPresents. One movie review for 1 month. Go to this link to support the daily grindiness of all them daily movies, so go here. And until next time, mint salad, I'll see you to my sour croutons and bacon bits. I'm gonna go find some skis. I wanna ski with James Bond. He's cool.